Hello guys, welcome to another video. Now today I'm going to be talking about the upcoming 2016 Formula 1 season. I don't know why I haven't spoken to it yet since the start of January because a lot has happened, and it's actually very close because I believe the first practice session for the Australian Grand Prix is a month from tomorrow. So it's very close. Up to this point, well, today, 17th of February, Red Bull are going to be releasing their 2016 livery, not their car, but their 2016 livery today at 5 o'clock. On the 19th, so 2 days away, Ferrari are going to be revealing their car. Pretty much all the teams, bar Sauber, I believe, have started up their cars already, fired them up. So yeah, it's building up very quickly, and very sweetly too. So this video I'm just going to be talking about it on the whole, what my expectations are, how I think the teams and drivers are going to do, and things like that. So, like everyone else, my expectations are very high for the season. I think it's going to be far better than last year because, in my opinion, compared to 2014, last year was crap. In my opinion, anyway, the races just weren't very good. I think the only good races were, in my opinion, Singapore, Hungary, and Britain. Yeah, I mean the rest of them were okay, but all of them, honestly, I thought were just a little bit tedious. So, you know, when you consider you've got Haas joining this year, you've got Manor moving to Mercedes Power, you've got, you know, Ferrari looking to offer up a far bigger challenge to Mercedes this year. You've got Renault coming back in as a main team. It all looks like it's going to be a very interesting year, and hopefully an exciting year too. So, I mean, yeah, so I guess I'll just talk about the teams and what I think they're going to do. Or how I think they're going to do, I should say. So, Mercedes. Are they going to win the championship again? I think, you know, they've won the previous two very, you know, well, in the sense that for 2014 and 2015, they won 16 races in both. In 2014, Red Bull got 3, and in 2015, Ferrari got 3 off them. Apart from that, it was a faultless 2 years for them. Won 2 championships. Lewis Hamilton won all the championships. So, yeah, I mean, are they going to win again this year? Well, as I said, I think Ferrari, as everyone else is expecting, and themselves are expecting, and Mercedes are expecting, are going to offer a big challenge. But I will not be surprised to see Mercedes, you know, crawl away. But I think Ferrari are going to offer a big challenge, and I will love to see them win a championship because the last time they won the Constructors' Championship was in 2008, and the last time they won the Drivers' Championship was Michael Schumacher in 2004. So I think it would be great to see them win a championship again, whether that be drivers or constructors. So yes, but Mercedes, I think they're going to have another great year. The car itself, I think, is going to be fantastic, as it always is, or as it has been since 2014. And in terms of the livery and things like that, it's going to be exactly the same, I think. I don't think the livery is going to change at all. And in speaking about drivers, I think Lewis is going to come on top of Nico again. I mean, Nico, don't get me wrong, he's a great driver, but I don't think he's championship winning material. I mean, you guys can have a growl at me all you like, but I just don't think that. I mean, you look at his drives. I mean, yes, when he was partnered with Michael Schumacher, he beat him every year, but Michael Schumacher, to be fair to him, was past his best, and he had been out of F1 for quite a while. So I don't know. Maybe Nico Rosberg will come on top of Hamilton, but I don't think he will. So yes, that's Mercedes done. So let's move on to a Ferrari, which, for reference, is my favourite team, as you can tell from the picture up there. Ignore that Red Bull thing, that's just a picture. But yes, I have a Ferrari calendar over there. So yes, I'm a Ferrari lover. But so, yes, I think this is going to be Ferrari's best season in a long time. And I mean a long time. You've got a new team principal, you've got loads of new members of staff, you've got when you considered, or when you consider how much they stepped up from 2014 to 2015, because the 2014 car was shit, and the 2015 car was probably second best, the second best car, arguably the best chassis. So, well, no, I think Red Bull's was, but I'll speak about it later. Um, so yeah, expectations are really high. They've made a lot of improvements with their engine. So, and their chassis, they've already spoken about how their chassis supposedly is going to have a shorter nose, like last year the Toro Rosso and Red Bull, and eventually the McLaren who moved to it as well, because they know that it's the best aerodynamic solution per se. And speaking about the livery, I've heard a lot of rumours that there's going to be a bit more white on the car this year. Supposedly going back to a retro livery. Um, I've heard quite a lot of sources say that the reason they're doing that is to go back to their 1975 livery, I think it was. Um, Back when Nicky Loud or something like that. To be honest, I don't really know, but I think there might be a change. It would be nice to, because it would be nice to see them separate from their past of not winning championships and failing to match teams like Red Bull or McLaren. So, yeah, it would be nice to see a change there. In terms of drivers, obvious Sebastian Vettel's gonna come on top. I'm not even gonna speak about that because Kimi Raikkonen, in my opinion, shouldn't even be in F1 anymore. I like him as a character. I think he's a good character. I mean, you can't beat his press conferences. When he's in press conferences or gives interviews, he's hilarious. But as a driver, I think it's time for him to move on. But yes, anyway, it should be a good year. Are they going to win the championship again? It all depends on how Mercedes do. If Mercedes fall back, yes. If they stay on top or if they improve further, we're going to see a great battle. Right. What's next? Let's talk about Williams, shall we? I think Williams are going to get beaten by Force India. I'm just going to say that right now. I mean, to be fair to them, their 2014 season was absolutely astonishing compared to their 2013 season, in which they got 5 points. But they fell back a bit in 2015. Yes, they did stay third. In terms of constructors, they finished third in 2014 and third in 2015. However, I think when you consider how much Force India improved last year, that they're probably, in my opinion, Force India are going to be the underdogs this season. In my opinion, I mean, I could be wrong. I could be very wrong, but in my opinion, Williams are going to fall back to fourth or fifth, or even, maybe even lower than that. I think they're going to have a tough time because as a team, I like them. They're not my favourites, but I do like them as a team. The Martini livery, it's nice. Speaking about the livery, it would be nice to see a change up in terms of how the livery's set out, because for the past 2 years, it's simply just been white with a Martini strip going down the sides of the car. So I would like to see a little bit more Martini branding, maybe, in terms of the colours and differences there, because I don't like the livery as much as other people. It's far from my favourite livery, in my opinion, because I've heard a lot of people saying it's the best livery in F1. No, it isn't. In my opinion, Force India is the best livery, at least last year. So, yeah. But no, in terms of drivers, I think, Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas, they're very, very good, matched with each other. For the past 2 seasons, they were very close in terms of performance. I think in 2014, in my opinion, Bottas was a little bit better, and in 2015, Massa was a little bit better. So, I don't know. I think they're going to be very evenly matched. I'm just going to guess that Bottas is going to do better, but we'll see. I think ever since Massa moved from Ferrari to Williams, he has improved a little bit. Right, okay. So I don't know why I did that. Moving on to Red Bull. Now, as I said before, Red Bull are going to be revealing their 2015 livery later today at 5 o'clock. Not their car. They're releasing their car on the 22nd of February when testing starts. But they're revealing their livery today. But yes, I think this is going to be a horrible season for Red Bull. I'm sorry, but I really think that 2014, considering how god awful the Renault power unit was in 2014, because their chassis was so good, it was by far and away the best chassis on the grid in 2014, but they ended up finishing second. However, in 2015, you could see more how bad the Renault power unit was because they fell back to fourth, which was their worst finish ever since 2008, fourth place, because Mercedes, Ferrari kept improving on their power unit so much, and Renault just couldn't keep up, and Honda. Where do I even begin with Honda? I'll talk about them later, but yeah. So they fell back, and I don't care what any people say. They're sticking with Renault power units this season. They're just calling them Tag Heuer because they're trying to separate themselves from Renault. But it's still a Renault power unit at the end of the day. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. Red Bull chassis are usually the best on the grid. So this year's may be the same, but I think they're going to fall even further back this year. I could be wrong. It could be really good, but I don't think it will. But yes, speaking about their livery, I hope to see a change because they're no longer with Infinity. Infinity are now with Renault as the Renault team. So yes, they've lost that god awful purple nonsense. I think that's the only one they've lost, and they've got Tag Heuer as the main sponsor, if you like. So I expect to see a bit of change there. Will it be as different as everyone's saying it is? Well, I don't think so, but it could still be nice to see a change there. In terms of drivers, Daniel Kvyat surprised me last year, I have to say. He struggled at the start of the year. I think it was in Monaco, in which Helmut Marko, that idiot at Red Bull, said that if he didn't step up his performance, he'd be kicked out because of Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. The new guys at Toro Rosso. So he stepped up his performance, and then he actually, at the end of it, beat Daniel Ricciardo by about 20 points or so at the end of the season. But, you can't deny Daniel Ricciardo's skill, nor Daniel Kvyat. So I think it's going to be very evenly matched. Personally, I like Daniel Ricciardo as a character and, his personality more than I do Daniel Kvyat. I think sometimes Daniel Kvyat can be a little bit arsey. That's just my opinion. But, yeah, in terms of driving, I think they're both equally matched. I'd just like to say now this video might be a bit too long, so I may split it into two parts. In fact, yes, I will. So I'll speak about a couple more teams, and I'll do the second part later, because I don't want this video to go on for ages. Alright, so moving on to... Let's talk about Force India, because I really, really do think the Force India are going to be the underdogs this season, in the sense that they're going to come through and maybe even finish third or above. No, I think they're going to finish third. Their B-Spec chassis last year, I think, was probably up there with Ferrari in terms of the chassis itself and how good it was, which really surprised me because Force India have one of the lower budgets on the grid. So for them to produce a chassis that was that good really, really improved me. And when you consider they've got a Mercedes engine, which is the best on the grid, and you've got Sergio Perez and Nico Hulkenberg, two of the best drivers, it should be a really good season. In terms of livery, in the history of Force India, they've shaped it up every single year. 2009 was different from 2008, 2010 was different from 2009, etc., etc. So maybe they'll change it, but last year's livery was so good, I don't want them to change it too much because it was my personal favourite last year, that grey and black livery separated with an orange strip was just orgasm. I'm joking, it wasn't that good, but it was still the best. So yeah, I would be more than happy to see them keep that livery, but a little shape up would be nice to see. So yes, it should be a really good season for them. So I think I'll talk about Renault, and then I'll do part 2 later. So, Renault. If you didn't see, you should have seen, Renault revealed their... it's Renault Sport F1, but I'm just going to call them Renault. Revealed their car, their livery, their drivers, and everything on the 3rd of February, I believe, in Paris. And it was a mixed bag for me. In terms of the drivers, you've got Jolyon Palmer, and thank God Pastor Maldonado is gone. I am so happy. I was so happy. I mean, Pastor Maldonado, to be fair to him, he's a nice guy. Probably one of the nicest in the grid, but he is a shit driver. I mean, I don't care that he won a race in 2012 in Spain. I mean, if you look how many incidents he caused, how many mistakes he made, he was a paid driver. That's all Lotus kept him for, because as soon as his PDVSA sponsors, what have you, disappeared, they just kicked him out and brought in Kevin Magnussen. But yeah, I'm happy to see him go, and I'm happy to see Kevin Magnussen brought in because he is a fantastic driver. I personally think that he should have stayed at McLaren, and Fernando Alonso, I don't know. I don't know what I think of Fernando Alonso. I'll speak about that in part 2. But yeah, Kevin Magnussen, a fantastic driver, and I'm happy to see him in. Jolyon Palmer, I haven't seen much of him, so I'm not sure. I can't really say what I think of him, but we'll see how he goes. And in terms of the team, it's nice to see Renault come back in as a main team, because I think with that they can improve much more, because their engine's probably the worst on the grid. I mean, you could say Honda is, but I'm going to speak about that in part 2. But yeah, I think Renault's engine is probably the worst overall. And the car itself, well, I'll talk about the livery first. The livery, I mean, they have said that it's probably going to change, and I really hope it does, because all it is a black car. It's just completely black with Renault, it's a black car with like 3 yellow stripes on it. That's it. Yeah, disappointing, I know, but that's what it is. The car itself is pretty much the Lotus E23 with a very, very slightly reshaped rear area to hose the Renault engine. Apart from that, it's pretty much exactly the same as the Lotus E23, which, to be fair to it, wasn't a bad chassis, but it's by far the best. So I think Renault are really going to struggle this year. Possibly even battling with, battling no more than lower midfield, I think. I mean, I could be surprised, but yeah, I don't think Renault are going to do that well this year. I think this year's just going to be about building up the team, bringing in resources, bringing in sponsors, and really updating the car as much as they can in preparation for 2017. I think from 2017 onwards, they'll put in a real challenge, but for now, I don't think this year is going to be very good. So yes, guys, that is part 1 done, talking about the teams and drivers for 2016. So part 2 will be up soon. And yeah, I haven't got much more to say, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you for part 2.